Alright, so here's a topic that was a little bit gruesome. I wasn't exactly inclined to cover initially, but at this point, honestly, might as well, especially since it just took quite the interesting turn, I guess we could say. If you guys aren't aware, I think it happened last week. It was one of the most viral stories across the entire internet, I'd argue. Whatever the space you may occupy online, you've heard of this story. An ex-professional hockey player who played for the NHL, a man by the name of Adam Johnson, tragically passed away. I'm actually realizing that this story is like 2 weeks old at this point. So not last week, but the week prior. Anyway, something horrific happened. He collided with another player by the name of Matt Petgrave, who very confusingly, almost like a figure skater, lifted his back leg, only for his skate to make contact with Adam Johnson's neck, and well, pretty much the rest is history. There was a lot of speculation, a lot of talk, a lot of analysis, a lot of people with different opinions on this issue, as to the intent, as to what should happen, and now we got an update today. Mr. Matt Petgrave is now being charged with manslaughter by the UK police. Things just took a little bit of a hectic turn. I just want to have a conversation about this, not really related to politics, but related to culture, especially considering how some leftist publications are covering this stuff. Let's talk about it. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so for those of you guys who need context, it's going to be hard to show you guys the clip. It'll be heavily censored when I play it here on YouTube, but you'll pretty much be able to get the gist of it. So it's really hard to tell what's going on since I had to blur the thing, just, to be safe for YouTube. But essentially, Matt Petgrave, who's this guy, is skating with incredible velocity. He makes contact with Adam Johnson and for some reason lifts his skate and even bends his leg up forward, putting the blade on his skate in a horizontal position. He then makes contact with Adam Johnson in the most unfortunate area, exactly where he has no protection, directly on the man's neck. Adam Johnson then bleeds out and ends up passing away, probably on the ice. And I'd say it's probably one of the most horrific, one of the most tragic sporting injuries in the history of sports. I think we could easily say that considering the outcome here. And the conversation immediately went to, well, did he do it on purpose? Now, I haven't been watching hockey my whole life. Well, I have on and off, but not really. Although after the Black Lives Matter riots, after every organization went full BLM, it seemed as though hockey was the only refuge of sanity left, and so I pretty much became a hockey fan with really no other choice. I've been following the sport for the last 3 years pretty extensively, and I have to say something. The entire time that I've been watching hockey, and really my entire life having at least some sort of exposure to the sport, I have never seen a player lift his skate like that. I've done some skating in my life, I've been around the sport. Lifting your leg like that, especially during a time of contact in the direction of another player in what seems to be a kick, I've never seen anything even close to it. My initial reaction to seeing the video, it seemed flagrant. Quite clearly flagrant. And I think a lot of people perceived it as an intentional act. You just don't do that with your skate. I mean, people know that. There have probably been millions of hockey games played over the last roughly probably century of the sport. And how many times has this happened? Kids are playing hockey every single day. Professionals are playing hockey every single day as well. You just don't see this stuff. These hockey players are wearing incredibly sharp blades on their feet. Deadly weapons. If there was a clear danger of getting slashed by a blade like that, we would see it happen quite often over, like I said, millions of games being played across the Western world for the past 10 decades. But you just don't see this stuff. Then we learn that the player, Matt Petgrave, who's the accused in this situation, has a history of being a rough player, of being a dirty player, and slowly but surely, benefit of the doubt, continues to fade. Well, now it seems like the appropriate action is being taken, and I'll get to why I believe that's the case. Here's the latest news report.
Some breaking news that's come in from South Yorkshire Police, and it concerns the death of the ice hockey player for the Nottingham Panthers, Adam Johnson. Police say they have arrested a man following that death. An arrest has been made in Sheffield on suspicion of manslaughter. The man remains in police custody at this time. The police statement goes on that on Saturday the 28th of October, Adam was seriously injured during a game between Nottingham Panthers and Sheffield Steelers and was sadly later pronounced deceased in hospital. A post-mortem confirmed he died as a result of a fatal neck injury. Police said that their investigation launched immediately following the tragedy, and they've carried out extensive inquiries ever since to piece together the events that led to the loss of Adam in these unprecedented circumstances. So that news again, that a man has now been arrested following the death of Adam Johnson. That man has been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter and is being held in police custody.
Matt Petgrave has officially been arrested on charges of manslaughter. A lot of people think that this is wrong, it's an overreaction. You know, if you're giving Matt Petgrave the benefit of the doubt, it's possible that you're horrified by the fact that he's been arrested and charged with manslaughter. I mean, obviously, that's kind of a life-changing event for the man. But really, I think it's the right thing to do. A young man who had his entire life ahead of him just had his life cut short. You know, I think the bare minimum that people should expect here is at least an investigation for charges to be applied and for a thorough examination, trial, court case to follow up here so we could get to the bottom of it, so we can thoroughly investigate the facts of this case, discovery, subpoenas, getting access to cell phone records, what Matt Petgrave was saying to his friends and his families before, prior, did he have any beef, did he hate this guy? I think at least bare minimum there should be a trial here, because as I stated, at least it's my opinion, this stuff just doesn't happen. And when it does, it's either a freak accident, and I mean an absolutely freak, like 1 in a million accident, or you have a dirty player here who did the unthinkable in the sport of hockey, probably not intending to murder the guy, but possibly with the intent to kick him. And it ended in absolute tragedy for Adam Johnson and his entire family and all of his loved ones. That's not something that you just brush away as an oopsie, call it a day and move on with your life. I think the right thing is being done here, and also I have a little bit of frustration with how the leftist mainstream media seems to be dealing with this situation. Surprise, surprise, they're making it once again racial. A lot of people are making the argument that the quote crowd wants to hold Matt Petgrave accountable for the loss of Adam Johnson's life specifically because of prejudice, because Matt Petgrave happens to be black. We're seeing all kinds of very dishonest journalism happening from the mainstream that is attempting to shield Matt Petgrave's identity. There was one article released just as I'm recording this video where they put a stock photo of a white guy being arrested in handcuffs as the visual representation of the article. You can see it here on screen. They're playing the same racial games that they always do, attempting to defend Matt Petgrave as a victim of white supremacy and prejudice. Not at all. There is a young man whose life was cut short so incredibly tragically in what could have been an intentional, flagrant, dangerous act in a sporting event. There is no racial element here, regardless of any of the individual's color of skin. It shouldn't even be a factor. From one side, that yes, it does exist, who seem to want to put extra emphasis on the fact that Matt Petgrave is black, as if that's somehow a factor in this story, and the other side, who seeks to defend him, again, purely because he's black, both irrelevant. We should stick to the facts, we should pay attention. I hope there's a thorough investigation here. I think the right thing is being done, and let's just see where the facts lead. My opinion, based on what I've seen so far, I think there's a pretty healthy possibility that this was manslaughter, and so we'll just have to see. Anyways, that's what I got. Just a little update on the story for you guys. Absolutely crazy, tragic stuff. If you enjoyed the update, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.